as a parent as well. So not peers actually probably slow. Welcome back to another episode of Dyslexia with Success. It's me, Petronila Engeka. I'm your host for today. And the topic of the discussion today is about the highs and lows of dyslexia, my personal experience. So get ready to giggle. So, dyslexia is a challenge, everyday challenge. It doesn't go away. It's not like some of the neuro divergent conditions where you have to take medications, but you have to develop strategies to learn how to live and cope with dyslexia. Some of the stories that I've encountered or happened in my life, I will tell you a story when I had to take my daughter to Cameroon during half term. So I had to book the flight well ahead of time. I went on to the school website, or I went on to Google. I typed the name of their school is Bishop Challoner College. But when I typed the word Bishop Challoner, Bishop Challoner School appeared instead, and I didn't look at the third letter on that. I just went ahead to scroll down to terms, times, and I took the term time for this Bishop Challoner School and booked the flight. As if that was not bad enough. Okay, because with my dyslexia, I do omission of words, and sometimes I kind of skim through text. I just read what is necessary. That's my coping mechanism, skimming, because I get overwhelmed with too much of the text, so I do skimming. And that was skimming at its worst on that day. So I booked this flight on the wrong date. But because the term time started on a Monday, I booked the flight on a Monday, but the actual date of the flight was on a Sunday. So I woke up in the morning. I told my daughter, I saw her in uniform. I'm like, where are you going in uniform? I told you that we are going to Cameroon for half term. And why are you in uniform? She said, no, I have to go to school. I said, no, go and get changed. We've got a flight this morning. So she got changed, packed her bag. So that means she had to miss school. That is the experience of a dyslexic mother. And we were about to set off. I told her, this is your flight ticket. I sent it to her phone because it was online ticket. And she said to me, Mommy, the date on here is different. It's yesterday's date, so there's no flight. I was just like, oh my God, you can't believe it. This flight costed me over £4,000. I stood there, I was speechless. I looked up, I looked down, and I said, what do I do next? I called the airline, Air France, and they told me that they could not refund me, they could not book me for another date. Guess what? I lost that because of my challenge. And it's one of those things that you will encounter, but it doesn't stop me. I still keep going. Another incident of a flight that I booked. So I traveled to Belgium, and I was coming back to Birmingham. My flight was meant to be on a Monday, but I turned up to the airport on a Sunday, thinking that's stupid, isn't it? Sometimes, because I've got picture memory, when I read the dates, I mark it with something as a way of reminder, which was the dates and the day. So I matched the day with a different date. So it was the 11th, and the 11th was a Monday, but I thought it was a Sunday. So I turned up to the airport. The cashier was as dyslexic as I was, because they checked me in on a Sunday when I had a flight on a Monday in person. And then I took my boarding pass. It was in the times where, before the pandemic, when you had to have your boarding pass with you. So he printed out the boarding pass and gave me. So I went to the barriers, I scanned it, he wouldn't let me in. So the lady at the barrier said, let me see your boarding pass. And then she looked and she said, oh, the 11th is tomorrow. Go and come back tomorrow. Guess what? My luggages had gone to the carriage sale. They had gone to where they had to load them on to the next flight. it was a bit of an experience. So I stayed in the airport for another 4 hours, and they had to offload my bag, and then I go back as if I have arrived to the arrival and waited for my suitcase to collect for the next day to travel. So those are some of the things that my dyslexia had failed me. And that's why I call it the highs and lows of dyslexia, because it's just an experience. These are the challenges I encountered. Just imagine somebody else had to do that for me. You know, when you get frustrated with your loved one, the reasons I share these experiences is that when it happened to you, you're not alone. You are not alone. I've experienced it. You might be experiencing it. You have experienced it. Or if somebody does that, just know that they have a problem that they cannot manage, and that's the situation. And what you need to do about it is just look for the solution. Because what happened with myself and my daughter's flight was that I had to book another flight. So we lost 4K there. I know money is hard, but we needed to travel because I needed to go and teach her some lessons in Cameroon, which is the culture and all of those things. So I thought this is not going to stop me from taking my child. Now that she's a teenager, she can understand good and right from wrong and all of those things. So yeah, those are some of my highs and lows of dyslexia experience. Another one, which is very funny, being a nurse, I used to work in outpatient in private clinic. So there was this doctor. His name is COX. So what is that called? Is that Cock? So I went to the patient. I said, Dr. Cock is waiting for you. He came with me, followed me to the doctor's room, and I said, Dr. Cock, here is your patient. And the patient said, that's not my name. I'm like, how did I get this wrong? It's COX, Cock. He said, no, my name is Cox. So I said, oh my God, I'm so sorry, I'm dyslexic. But they could understand. And not every word I can sound properly. If you have watched some of my episode, I told you about how I also omit words in sentences. So you are not alone with dyslexia. There are a lot of people experiencing these things that I am experiencing. I will tell you another funny one. I cannot spell the word library. From when I was 5-year-old to now that I'm 45, I cannot spell the word library, and it has never bothered me. It has never stopped me from becoming a nurse or a businesswoman or an author. I carry on with my life. I know library, somebody else will spell it on my behalf. And I mix up with words like mine and mine. So that's mine, my mind. So things like that, I have to think. And then I have other coping strategies with things like that. I have to pause and think again and double check. That means I need extra time for some of those things, words that sound similar but spelled differently. So I am very delighted to share with you today some of the challenges that I personally have faced and still facing. They don't go away, but now I have learned. They say failure is lessons learned and success is lessons applied. So after learning from all this failing, all these mistakes, I've applied them to become more successful. So I want to encourage somebody today, if this episode is very short, inspires you, encourage you, share it with your family members, with your friends. It might encourage somebody, let them not feel bad, let them not feel like they are alone. And on top of that, I have shared even more. If you think this is too much, I wrote a book, You Are Not Alone, where I shared experiences, some of these experiences, people from all walks of life will experience dyslexia. It doesn't matter whether you're brown, you're yellow, you're green, wherever you come from, dyslexia does not discriminate. It's not on race. Dyslexia is also hereditary. I think some people don't like to know about that because some parents think like, my child is failing, they're not doing very well, but they don't know where that came from. But it probably came from you, because I realized I was dyslexic from my own child. So you might want to get tested when these children are doing these things yourself, and then you can better support them. Thank you for watching again, and see you next time.